do it.
How you guys doing today? We're super excited to be here with the Duley Noted today. We have one of the coolest, awesome guests, one of my favorite people, Jennie Wolek in good old Tulsa, Oklahoma. How you doing, Jennie?
I am so good, Mike. I'm so happy to be here with you.
And I tease and talk about this. All of my guests so far have had this amazing lighting. They always look better than me. Is that part of being a good host? You know, we just set our guests up to look great and look awesome. And then I look all gray and old and dingy. I guess that's part of it, right?
It's all the lighting. Just get the lighting.
I love it. Well, good. Well, and for those folks that haven't listened to Duley Noted or haven't been on our show or haven't watched us on YouTube, we'll tell them. Let's tell them a little bit about the show, and I will. So it's really important for us as a company and organization to have something that paid it forward, talked about nonprofits, talked about great, awesome business people, but paying it forward through other people. So that's really why I wanted to have this show, have this podcast, and have great people like Jennie on.
Honored.
So Jennie, let's get right into it. Let's put you on the hot seat some. If you had to pick your biggest accomplishment that you're most proud of, let's share with our guests and our listeners what that looks like.
Well, I'd have to start with being a mom.
Love that.
And that is obviously my greatest accomplishment. If I were to work into a more professional life, I would say building a team, my real estate team, because as I've gotten to grow in my business, I've learned that having this really big vision is awesome. And it's even better to have great people to share it with.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So as I've grown my team, I've gotten to allow these team members to have and see that they can have a big, awesome life as well. And that's what I love.
I know the show is not really about me. It's about sharing with our listeners, but I just want to say that touched me really, really like in my heart big time, because part of the reason that I even jumped into real estate, into business, was to be able to tell my two daughters, whenever we say as parents, we say, you can be whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. And we actually don't do it. Most people don't. You do our 9 to 5 and there's nothing wrong with that. Great things, but we don't reach for the stars and really just go after it. So I love that you said it's about being a mom and actually being that great example for your daughter. That's so cool. Well, let's get right into this too. And I think this is part of this podcast and YouTube that I love is, do you have a favorite nonprofit or one that you work with that's really you're passionate about?
That's a great question. And in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there are so many amazing organizations. And I've been a member of the Junior League of Tulsa, where that volunteer organization then feeds back to many others in town as well. And as I've grown in my business, we've also added to part of our business plan is that after every closing, we donate $100 back to our clients' favorite nonprofits.
Oh, cool.
So I've gotten to learn about even more organizations around town that do a great job. And so really I couldn't even pick one for that reason. And then on top of that, over the past year, it just got approved in August of 2017. I created a nonprofit charity, and it's called Keys to the City. And the idea behind that was part of this giving back that already felt good that we were doing anyway, and then adding to it a little more purpose tied to my passion, which is training our youth and educating and mentorship and scholarships. So that's off to a good start.
That's awesome. And I always love seeing business people like yourself squirm a little bit when I say pick your favorite, pick your best. And it's like, how are you going to ask me to do that? I'm a marketer. But you know what? I just love that you said you want to help so many people and you want to be strategic in that, and strategic giving. We talk about that a lot. And you said, I want those funds to flow through a separate organization that you can maybe even leave behind. That's so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So give me an example, actually, maybe some of the things that you're doing with this Keys to the City. And I love the name, by the way.
Thanks. It started with discovering my own passion, and that came from an evolution of being in this business and at the same time real estate is an amazing business. All your listeners may not be in our same business. However, we are all business people. And as we learn that we have to have some passion behind what we're doing every single day, or we're going to be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you discover your passion in your life, in your heart, and tie it into what you do every single day? So for me, when I help buyers and sellers through their real estate transaction, we also love giving back to our community, and then it all ties together and it comes around and around. So training and educating our youth, there's actually a class called Quantum Leap. It's for young adults, and I'm a certified trainer in this class. And so that was kind of the spark that put all of those things together for me. So as I train this class in my community, the young adults, it's mainly for 18 to 24-year-olds, they can come to my class and then they can apply for a scholarship. So we had our first scholarship recipient this last year, and she actually went to the University of Arkansas.
Oh, very cool. Most people too think, hey, I'm a big Razorback person if you follow me on social media, which I am. But part of that is my wife said we're living in Arkansas forever. So I said I better embrace University of Arkansas, but obviously, I'll let all the listeners know out there it's about Gold Knolls, right? Yeah. Which I know you're a boomer sooner, and I know your excitement always happens. If people wanted to find out more about Keys to the City or Quantum Leap, where would they go to do that? Maybe get involved and help you on this mission.
Oh, thank you. That's an amazing question, and I have an answer. It's online. We have you can go to keystothecitytulsa.com. It actually will link you inside of our website, and then there's links inside of there of when the next QL classes are coming up.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I really do love that name. When you talked about every closing, I think people need to know what kind of magnitude we're talking about. And I see people, which we want everyone to be great and doing real estate and doing transactions. But let's let the listeners know the level of business that we're talking about for you in 2017. I know you had a great year.
Yeah, we got to help 109 families. So that's over $10,000 that we already had earmarked to go back to our community. So it's fun giving, and that just is a part of our passion and our purpose.
That is so cool. And I should know what the stat is, but I don't know what it is, but it might be, say there's 400,000 realtors in the world. Imagine if we were all giving back $10,000, what that would do with change. That's so cool. Wow. Thank you for doing that. Sure. Let's talk into, and tell some of our listeners, you're doing great things in 17. What does 2018 look like for you?
Well, because we tie in the giving back part to our goals, that's when it gets the emotion behind it. Our goal is to give back 20,000 through Keys to the City this next year. We have a big real estate transaction goal. It's actually 175. And then we will, allot some extra money in there to give when needed. And something fun we've been doing is this 2018, we've got 7 different client events already planned.
Wow. And
in there, they are going to have varying sizes of people that will join us at each event. And inside of every single event, we're going to have some kind of way to give back as well. So, for example, when we have our pie event in November, and we give back pies to all of our clients in our database, when they come, they can do something to give back. This last year, we had a donation box for family and children's services. So when they came to pick up their pie, they could bring along with them some diapers or some, kids' clothes. I think whenever all people are givers anyway. And so whenever they're coming to receive something for us, it makes them feel even better if they can give back as well.
So if our listeners want to come to one of these 7 amazing events, they need to go ahead and invest in Tulsa, right?
Yes, we're available to help.
If some of our listeners or some of the people watching on YouTube want to get involved with investments and do things in Tulsa, where do they find you and your organization? Yeah,
on the World Wide Web, you can go to the Wolek Group, WOLEK.com. We're all over social media as well as YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
So obviously you've, 7 events, you're doing some great stuff. Who do you look for? Who's like a mentor? Who's someone's inspiring you right now that you're really either following or following social media that maybe our listeners or people watching should think about checking out?
That's a great question. I really have learned that first and foremost, I have a business coach, a MAPS coach, and having a coach keeps me accountable and keeps me moving forward. And along with having a coach, I've just over the years gravitated toward different friends in our Keller Williams and real estate community. And I really look to those friends that are 2 to 3, 4 years ahead of me in the real estate business, in their not just real estate business, in their personal growth and their lives to emulate. So I will somehow be fortunate enough to be their friend, and they make me go faster, which I naturally wouldn't do on my own. Lots and lots of Facebook, I believe, has really changed my business and changed my mindset and my life, because we don't always, we agree, right, that not everything you see on the internet or on Facebook is true. At the same time, that is a really great way to build additional relationships and friendships and get to know each other better. So that's
So if you had to tell our listeners and tell some people watching, is obviously pick your niche of your business or where you're at as far as that business, and find great, awesome people on Facebook that have similar goals or values to you, and then learn from them. And I think I heard you say if they're 2 to 3 years ahead of you, or as far as, because you wouldn't want to follow someone that's been in the business just 1 year or something. Who would do that, right?
Is that why I can't get rid of you?
No, but awesome. So I know too, you invest in yourself. So if we had to tell our listeners, what are you reading right now?
I've been sharing this a lot because it's a tool that not many of us agents know about. And at least in the real estate world, we have the National Association of Realtors. All of us are members to it, so we pay dues to that. Well, there is an app called Overdrive, Overdrive. You can download the app. You can actually even go online as well. And there is, when you select the National Association of Realtors library, there is all of the content of the library, where you can get Audible, you can get books to listen to, as well as ebooks for free.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what I was realizing is that in the mornings I was walking on the treadmill and I was watching silly YouTube or Netflix TV shows that weren't adding any value to my life. And I'd get off and go, wow, that really did not help me grow at all. So instead, in that 30 minutes, I just listened to, I don't know, recently Grant Cardone. He will get you pumped up for sure.
Yes, he will.
Angela Duckworth's book, Grit, was on there. There's lots of John Maxwell and even Dave Ramsey. So anyone that's way smart, that's super successful, I'm going to listen to them. And it's going to give me some kind of, another big one that I've been listening to is I've been catching up on all the One Thing podcasts and webinars as well. Great.
Jeff Woods does a great job. I love that content.
Hey, and honestly, Duley, the most recent one was with Gene Rivers. Listen to the podcast with Gene Rivers. It was mind-blowing and amazing. If you're working to grow your business and your team, it's a must listen to.
That's a great share. And Gene Rivers, I have to actually almost give compliment or give kudos to him. The reason I'm sitting here today, I think, honestly, my sister was his one of his transaction coordinators, listing management coordinators. I don't know if you even knew that.
No.
So she started in real estate in Tallahassee, Florida on Gene's team. And that's as I researched and looked into it and said, I want to do this. I mean, he's one of the people that has built wealth and passive income in such a great way. What a great leader from not only for real estate people, but as a business person. And he does it, which I think is aligned to this podcast and who we want our listeners to be. He does it the right way. He pays it forward, and he'll help anyone. So much kudos to him. And I think I heard you say Grant Cardone. Man. I am definitely listening to him right now too. Wow. Let's go ahead and put a plug out there and say we got to have him on the show. We need him on here. I'm not that I'm all about the F-bombs, but every now and then, when he gets one, it kind of gets you jazzed up and makes sure you're awake. Yeah. I want to go to a question, something you hit on. You said and I've heard you have been just amazed. You're a mom. You're this big business person. You have a 501c with keys to the city. You're doing all these things. And then you're working out and investing yourself. How do you keep all that together?
A calendar. And honestly, it is going to bed by 10 o'clock and waking up at 4:45. Spending the morning before I get to my daughter on me, thinking about my day, looking at my calendar, having a positive mindset, giving some gratitude, then getting to the office. It's all a calendar. It's all time blocked. I can show you that even wake up, drink coffee, get in the shower is on my calendar.
That is awesome. Now, you know what? I've thought about this too. I've, started training for this half Ironman, and I'm doing some things different in my life that's causing me to wake up 4:45, 5 o'clock. Are you setting an alarm at night to say go to bed, or is it just now a habit where you're using the 66-day calendar, or are you using some sort of tool to do that?
To go to bed or to wake up?
A little bit of both.
I just discovered years ago, all of my super awesome mega agent friends that I look up to, that I choose to be like, they all are doing the same thing. They get up early. And actually, I'll be quite honest, if you ever need to connect with one of your super awesome mega agent friends, text them before 7 a.m. and you'll get them.
That is awesome. You guys all heard the tip here now. If you're thinking about looking for a mentor or even referrals or looking into expansion or something like that, some of the big time agents are waking up early. And it's funny, I actually did for our Hergenrother Realty Group, I do a power up every Friday morning at 7:20 actually is when it occurs. But I research and do some of the things start at 5 a.m. for that call. And one of the ones today was the top 10 things to kind of stay on goal. Because as you know, we're recording this for January 5th, so it's already 1 week in for the new year. How many people have already forgot about their resolutions, their goals, they've lost track? And I think it was number 7 of the top 10 items was wake up early. And that was some research that I had from Inc. Magazine or Entrepreneur Magazine, one of those. So it's pretty cool. We'll make sure that we post that below, the top 10 things to stay on goal.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Awesome content. What's on your mind right now? What would you love to share with our listeners if they're just checking in or watching us on show?
Well, I really think, and you asked it a kind of, and I'll go back to it, is how do I stay focused and on track? And something my coach shared with me a while back was I kept feeling like I was just caught. I couldn't get forward. I kept working in the business. Helping buyers and sellers is very important in our business. And I knew that I also had big goals to move forward as well, and I couldn't get past it. And he reminded me that when you know where you're going, when you have a future organization chart of what your world, your business world looks like, then you can work backwards. So today, when you have that minute to think, you look at it and say, who am I missing? Is it a person in my organization? Is it a mentor or coach to help me get that? What do I need to be looking for? And I'll also add, just to end with that same idea, is that last year family reunion, it's our big Keller Williams convention. It's always in February. And Gary Keller from the big stage says, you're only 5 years away from where you want to be.
I love that.
And it was, I'm sure, a trending hashtag that day, because we all went crazy with the hope and optimism that where we are this minute doesn't have to be where we will be in the future.
I love that. Yep. I'll say I've heard Gary Keller, Jeff Woods, Adam Hergenrother have said your future self. So go out there and if people want, it's Simple Mind and it's free, and you can download it on your MacBook. It actually is an org chart program, and you can develop out that 5-year, 10-year, 20-year goal of what your organization or your life looks like, and then work backwards. I love that, Jennie. And do you actually put time in your calendar where you say, 30-day check-ins, quarter check-ins, all right, where am I to that future self?
That would be a great thing to do. It's on my 411 as an every week occurrence to have some action that is a step closer to getting that.
I love that. And we talk about that too and hear that as people see these big, massive goals, and you talked about helping 175 families next year. That's awesome. But I think what we think is people don't get started and they're not ready to fail forward and they're not ready to help that first family. When you think 175, you just have to chunk it down and you just have to do one at a time, and just do it step by step. So I love that it's all about the calendar.
Well, and it's so funny, and we hear it all the time is when, you see me today, and not that I'm this huge rock star, it's that I've been in this business now 17 years.
That's awesome.
Was definitely slow going, and I got to learn and grow through it. I'm now with Keller Williams for 11 years. And that's when I feel like I finally learned how to be a business person. And I just use the systems, tools, and models that are already created for us. That's the takeaway here. So many agents, they go and work to be creative first when they haven't built the foundation, which is a very simple, in the MREA book, pages 133 through 147 is my favorite place to start. So go read those.
Well, and people should know, and I know this about this, and I see this about you, is that you actually put together a growth plan. So 2018, can you maybe share a few of those things, where events or places you're going to go invest in yourself?
Yes. Well, my new home office has a lot of great inspiration going on. And so I can see it from right here. So I see on my calendar that actually in a couple of weeks, I paid a donation to Keller Williams Cares to attend a mastermind with Gary Keller. That'll be awesome. That's in January. In February, we have family reunion coming up, and I'll have some tips for all of our agents of what's the best practices and things to do for family reunion. Let's see. I've got travel time with my husband to Jazz Fest and to recharge at the end of the year in San Francisco. All of these things that I have on my growth plan, it's either family, fun, growth, learning, it's empowerment, teaching other agents. That's my big goal for this year, is to work on and finish up becoming a Keller Williams University instructor.
That's so cool. We'd be blessed to obviously listen to you and have you. One thing actually that I noticed from your growth plan, and you're so sharing, and you're willing to pay it forward all the time as you post it on social media. I've actually never seen this before. Most people put what conferences they're going, how they're going to invest themselves, and you mentioned it, Jazz Fest. You actually weaved in your family, and I love that. And I think maybe even you recap your 2017 for our listeners, but you said, actually, these are the things I'm going to do with family, and you broke that in the calendar. And I think a lot of us as business owners, entrepreneurs, don't do that enough. When did that start? Have you had that integrated into your business in your life for a long time, or just most recently?
Probably not. I would think that, I say this story a lot, and at the end of 2010 was when I had the privilege to attend my first BOLD class. And as you know, since we've been in the BOLD classroom 2 times together,
yes, we have.
That when and it's not just this class, this is an amazing class. Besides being an awesome systems and training and scripts class, it is a mindset class. And when you learn how to time block the way Gary Keller trains and the way he does it, is he looks at his whole year, and first and foremost, family vacations.
Yep.
Then you fill in all the rest. And what's so fun about traveling that I've discovered is now this past year, I got invited to lots of different fun big cities to train on a class that I teach. And I would incorporate some vacation into that. I brought my husband along, and, we got to go to San Francisco, which is so fun. So incorporating family time to what I love anyway, that's just a win-win for me.
I love that. And so if people wanted to have you come speak at their real estate office, their market center, how would they do that? And what kind of course are we talking about?
Well, thanks for asking. It's a class that I made up. I was wondering, how in the world can I share? I used to be in my market center. I used to get asked to teach a systems class in Ignite. There wasn't the course material on it. I just had to make it up. And it was great because I was known as the systems queen. And so I had all this material. And then I thought, well, how can I make this better? And that's where, self-mastery comes into play. Is I don't want to deliver a half, not good product. And so I just kept working on it. So now the class is called Magnify Your Mission. And I've got it CE approved here in the state of Oklahoma. So it's a 3-hour class. And I got to travel all over last year, and I've already got some looking to be booked this year as well. So it's awesome. So we start with your goal and discovering your own mission statement. Now you know who you are and what you love. Now let's build out your goals around that. We use a lot of the tools from the MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, The One Thing, Shift, all the books that already exist. I didn't recreate the wheel. And then toward the end, I just share a lot of the systems that we use in my personal business. So I'll give you all the systems and checklists and scripts of things that we use.
That sounds great. I don't need CE in Oklahoma, but I might just come take the class. But I know you said you already spoke in 17 in several places. Do you have some of them booked for 2018 already?
I've got some friends in Springfield, Missouri that I'm going to be seeing early March. And then also some friends in North Carolina, a couple locations, and Atlanta, I believe.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I know in Springfield, there's a really cool guy, Dan Holt, which we both know. And he's a stud, awesome guy. We'll give a good kudos to him. He's doing some big stuff there for sure.
I'll make him take me to dinner.
I like it. I it's not too far from Arkansas. I might just have to make a trip up there and just crash your guys' party a little bit.
Okay.
Well, and for our listeners and maybe people that are just getting started in either real estate or business, it sounds like you've mentioned, throughout this few minutes we've been together, at 10 books easily. What do you think? Last year, if you had to pick a book count, what does that look like for you?
Oh, yeah, 10 is good. The thing I've noticed, and maybe you're like this too, is I'm easily distracted. So that's where I found that the Audible type books were great for me, because I was captivated for 30 minutes in one place. When it's reading a book, my best reading time is on an airplane. I love reading books. I can knock out books on an airplane. So that's why I love traveling. I can also read. And I have a bedside table that has a big stack of books that I've gotten halfway through, and I'll admit it. Sorry.
Well, I've heard a mentor and a friend say, and not saying this is the case for you, but just for our listeners, if the book sucks or you're not enjoying it, like you bought it, like move on to the next one. Yeah. I think in our society and who we are, we think, hey, I bought the book, I got to power through. No, if the content's not delivering, move on. And there's something else actually this mentor and friend said. He said, why can't you, when you do the audibles, and just for our listeners, you grocery shop, you do all these things. Actually, can you integrate that in the activities that you're doing that are mindless anyway, and capture a book? Most books, audibles, are from 5 to 7 hours. You can get through about one a week, if you will. So I know I'm doing a 52 book or audible challenge this year. So I'd love for our listeners and you to keep me accountable. Yeah. I'm actually reading Badass right now.
I've got it.
I love the title name, but it's funny when I heard when you were talking about your course, it integrated some of those same concepts, which I love. And I think that's the piece behind it. She's just like, get started, develop you who. And she talks about obviously weaving in God. And I think that's something too. And she says, that superpower. And I love that.
Yeah, love it.
If you had to give a piece of advice, there is any new business people or entrepreneurs or moms. And I think about that, I think about my own wife. It is, and I don't claim this at all. I know as a husband, as a dad, we got it much easier than you moms when you're trying to juggle all the things. Is there maybe a few tips that you can give new entrepreneurs, moms out there?
I just made a Fail Forward Friday video on this morning. I'm sharing all my failures that we know are actually opportunities for growth. And today was about, there was a time when my daughter was younger and I was not as scheduled and time blocked as I am today. And I just got up when I got up and I got her up. And guess what kids do not do in the morning? They do not move very fast. And I affectionately call it, I became mean mommy. When when you're working to get your 3 or 4-year-old, whatever age they are, she's 10 now and she still moves slow, to move at the pace that we want them to, they don't move any faster when you yell at them. And then actually when you yell and scream, your throat hurts for the rest of the day. It really did. It really did, I swear. And then she's bawling and crying because mean mommy yelled at her. Now it's taken more time to comfort her and get her back to normal and okay, still get dressed, let's get out the door. And so that to me was get up earlier. I could only control me. I could not control her. So that's when I started getting up earlier, getting me time in, all of me ready for the day so that then I could not be mean mommy.
I'm laughing because my wife and I both, work on our 5-year-old. She's in kindergarten now. So it's like, we start at 6:55 a.m. I might go in there and I rub her back. Then my wife goes in there. Then I go in there again. It's a process, especially after the holidays. They've been sleeping in, till 8 or 9, and now you have to wake up early. It's just funny.
Yes. And then the one little piece I'll add to the end of that story is I got up, I got me ready. The other great thing about when you start your day early like that, you do go to bed earlier. And the one thing that you could not forget to do is to time block for yourself some exercise. If you're not able to do it in the morning, have an appointment with yourself in the afternoon, 2 to 3 days a week on your calendar. And I honestly had to invest in a trainer so that I knew they were waiting for me. And if I didn't show up, I was letting them down. It wasn't about the money part, right? It was about letting that person down. And that really made a huge difference in my life over the past few years, is getting strong. Because when you're strong physically, you're strong mentally, you can help more people, you have higher energy, you attract more people, you attract better talent, and you attract lots of great friends like you.
I love that. Well, it's funny for our listeners too. I heard several things you weave. You have a real estate coach, you have a trainer, it's not like you're saying, hey, I want to do these great things. You have other people in your life that keep you accountable, to stretch you because you have those capabilities. So I think for any of our listeners, it's obviously a coach in whatever business you're having, a trainer, and leveraging those out to help make you a better you. That's so great. That's awesome.
Gotta have it.
So 17 years in, how long in did you realize that you needed a coach?
Well, it was in 2011, after my first Bold class, I noticed instant results from the accountability and getting into activity by, calling people. And I then at the following family reunion in February, I hired my first MAPS coach, and I've never been without a coach since. I couldn't do it.
And we didn't talk about this accolade, but how many Bolds have you been to?
13.
That is awesome. Obviously, I don't love the number 13, so we got to get you to 14.
Okay, all right. Well,
and that's what I hear a lot, even within our own organization. Sometimes people saying, a course like Bold, if you're within Keller Williams or other real estate things, oh, there's some similar items. I've been there before. I've done that before. I think for all our listeners, wouldn't you say out of all 13 times, wouldn't you agree with me that every time you've learned something different? You are in a different place in your life, so you heard something differently and you acted on it differently. Is there anything maybe that's similar you'd like to share?
Well, that's exactly the story, and I share it a lot because people ask me, why do you keep taking this class? And I'll tell you why, because it produces results. Not only is it a great way to have the accountability of a new coach in my life, whoever the Bold coach is, it's also the accountability of my 8 other team members. And as you know, it's also a great way to build your business. For me in 2015, I took Bold 4 times total. 3 of those were in a city an hour and a half away from me, Oklahoma City. And then in 2016, that I traveled to Joplin, Missouri, and then also that last year, Fayetteville, Arkansas. So all of those from Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I live, are about an hour and a half to 2 hours away. So that was a way for me to meet and really get to know other agents from nearby cities that are great referral partners that I can help and they can help me.
I love that. So it's like you invested in yourself, and then you were strategic, and then with your business grew. So it's just like people think sometimes when I sign up for a course or I do something, I'm not actually having a strategic mission for going there. So you strategically said, before I go there, this is how many referrals I'm going to have. This is who I'm going to talk to. This is who I'm going to network, and I'm just going to meet great people. I love that. So
well, I'd say that it has paid off in this last year. Agent referrals was our second largest source of business, and we had generated over 100 agent referrals.
Wow.
So that was fun.
And maybe the stat. I don't know the stat, but as far as real estate, I don't think there's any other business that at a high level you have to be in the top 1% as far as referrals. So that's just kudos to who you are as a person and how you do business. So we've loved having you on the show. It's been awesome. So again, will you share with our listeners if they want to get to know more about Keys to the City, about you, where you're speaking, where do they find you?
Actually, a great thing they can do is on Facebook, I have a closed group that is called Your Journey with Jennie, Jennie. And there is also a page that you just need to like with the same name. So there's two different places on Facebook with the same name. You can like one and you can ask to join the other. There's a little bit of different content in each, and there's reasons for that. Yeah. And then, so finding me on Facebook is a great way to start. Also, you can, my mobile number is 918-706-9845, or you can find me at thewolekgroup.com.
I love it. Well, again, Jennie Wolek, thanks so much from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've loved having you on the show. It's been awesome. Great seeing you, and I know I'll see you at Keller Williams Family Reunion in February. Have an awesome day. Thanks again for joining the show.
Thank you.
Talk soon.
Okay, bye.